Welcome to Seductive Chronicles. In today's video, some stories don't begin with fire, with passion, or even with a spark. They begin in silence, in an ordinary night that should have meant nothing at all. And yet those nights, the ones you never expect, become the nights that change everything. If I had known what was waiting for me that evening, maybe I would have turned off the TV, gone to bed early, and shut the world out. Maybe I would have clung harder to the safe rhythm of loneliness, to the comfort of my grief, even if it meant living half alive. But life doesn't give us warnings. It doesn't tell us, be careful, tonight your world will shift. It only gives us choices. And once you make one, you can never go back. It was a Friday night, quiet, still. The kind of night where the silence of the house pressed in on me more than usual. I sat in the living room with my stepson, Noah. Just the two of us. Ever since my husband, his father, Mark, passed away 2 years ago, the house had lost its warmth. It used to ring with laughter, the clatter of dishes from family dinners, late-night talks spilling into the early morning, even silly little arguments that ended in hugs. Now it felt hollow, heavy, like a house waiting for a reason to breathe again. God knows I tried to keep it together, for myself, for Noah. But grief is not kind. It carves you open, hollows you out, leaves you walking through life with half your soul missing. And in being strong for Noah, in holding us together, I never stopped to notice how much he had grown. Or maybe I didn't want to notice. That night we watched a movie together. Nothing extraordinary, a typical action film, the kind with explosions, gunfire, and a sprinkle of romance they throw in for effect. But somewhere between the flashing lights on the screen and the shadows in the room, I looked at him. Really looked at him. Noah wasn't the lanky boy I used to scold for leaving his socks on the floor, or for forgetting to do his chores. He wasn't the teenager with awkward posture and a voice that cracked when he tried to sound serious. No. Sitting there, stretched out comfortably with his arm lazily draped across the back of the couch, Noah didn't look like a boy at all. He looked like a man. His shoulders had broadened, his jawline sharper, the softness of youth replaced by something steady, grounded. His voice had deepened too, confident, smooth, the kind of voice that fills a room without even trying. And that realization, it unsettled me. I shook the thought away quickly, forcing my eyes back to the screen. He's your stepson, I reminded myself firmly. That's all. That's who he is. But it didn't matter how tightly I tried to hold that truth. The air between us felt different. Every time he leaned in to say something about the movie, I caught the faint brush of his breath against my cheek. His arms stretched along the couch made him feel impossibly close. Close enough that I could feel the warmth radiating off him. And then in one stolen second our eyes met. Just a fleeting glance. But something lingered in his gaze. Something unspoken. My heart stumbled in my chest. I told myself I was imagining it, that it was the movie, or maybe the wine, or maybe just the loneliness playing tricks on me. But my body betrayed me. My pulse quickened. My chest tightened. And for the first time in years, I felt the electric rush of someone's presence beside me. It terrified me. And then, softly, almost hesitant, he spoke my name. Evelyn. I turned, my throat dry, my voice trembling though I tried to steady it. Yes, Noah. He held my gaze, and in the flicker of the TV light, I saw something raw in his eyes. Something vulnerable. I just want to thank you, he said, his voice low. Thank me? For what? His words came slowly, weighted with something deeper than I expected. Since Dad passed, you've been here for me. You didn't have to, but you did. And because of that, I never felt completely alone. The weight of his words sank into me, heavier than I was prepared for. My throat tightened, emotion rising fast. Oh, Noah, I whispered, my voice breaking. Of course. I'm glad you're here too. But he didn't look away. His eyes stayed on me, unflinching, pulling me deeper. His voice dropped even lower, almost a whisper. When you're around, I feel at peace. The air between us grew charged. Thick. My breath caught. His hand shifted on the couch, just slightly, as if fighting an invisible pull to reach for me. And yet his eyes alone told me enough. That night a spark lit. And no matter how I tried to deny it, no matter how I begged my heart to extinguish it, I couldn't put it out. The days that followed weren't the same. Noah seemed different, attentive, protective, always present. He helped without being asked, lingered around me in the kitchen, leaning against the counter as if he had nowhere else to be. And when he looked at me, really looked, it wasn't the look of a stepson toward his stepmother. It was the look of a man toward a woman. At first, I brushed it off, pretended it was nothing. But then I caught myself noticing his gaze, almost waiting for it. Worse, I caught myself enjoying it. One morning, after he insisted on sweeping the floor for me, I stood in front of the mirror, staring at myself as though seeing myself for the first time in years. I was in my 40s, a widow, a stepmother. But as my reflection stared back, I realized I still had the figure of a woman who had cared for herself. My waist was slim, my skin soft, my hair long and flowing. And beneath it all, I was still a woman who could be wanted. And Noah's eyes confirmed that truth every single day. Then came my birthday. I'll never forget walking into the house that evening, weary from errands, only to stop dead in my tracks. The living room was glowing with candlelight. A table was set with flowers, wine, soft music floating through the air. For a moment, I thought I had walked into someone else's life. And then Noah stepped out, dressed in black slacks and a crisp white shirt, his dark hair brushed neatly back. He looked breathtaking. In his hand, he carried a small box. "I wanted tonight to be special for you," he said, smiling quietly. Inside the box was a dress. Not just any dress, a deep red, elegant, daring, with a high slit and an open back. My breath caught. "Noah, why would you get this for me?" "Because it's your birthday," he said simply, his eyes never leaving mine. "And you deserve to feel beautiful." I hesitated. Every reason in the world told me not to. But eventually I slipped into my room and put it on. When I turned toward the mirror, I didn't recognize the woman staring back. The fabric hugged my body, bold and unapologetic. My heart hammered in my chest. "This is crazy," I whispered to myself. "What am I doing?" And yet, for the first time in so long, I felt alive. When I walked back into the room, Noah's eyes widened. He didn't even try to hide it. "You look stunning," he said, his voice husky. I flushed, laughing nervously, my pulse racing. We sat at the table, the candles flickering between us, the wine loosening my nerves. We talked, we laughed, we remembered. For a little while, it almost felt like the family dinners we had lost, except different. Charged. And then his tone shifted. "How is it possible," he asked quietly, "for a woman like you to be alone?" The question sliced through me, leaving me breathless. I tried to deflect, but he leaned closer, his eyes never wavering. "You don't have to be. Not anymore. You deserve more than loneliness, Evelyn. You deserve someone who sees you." His words hit deeper than I could bear. And then, before I could even think, his lips were on mine. It wasn't just a kiss. It was every unspoken word, every lonely night, every ache colliding all at once. And God help me, I kissed him back. Reality crashed soon after. I pulled away, breathless, trembling. "This isn't right," I whispered, retreating, my mind spinning. I rushed to my room, locked the door, sat on the bed, and tried to convince myself it had meant nothing. That I could forget. But I couldn't. Hours later, I stirred at the sound of the door creaking open. My heart leapt into my throat as I saw his silhouette. "Noah," I whispered, half in shock, half in something I didn't dare name. "I know I shouldn't be here," he said softly, closing the door behind him. "But I can't pretend anymore." The room felt suspended in time. My chest rose and fell too quickly. My eyes locked with his, and every wall I had built crumbled in silence. Because in that fragile, trembling moment, I realized the truth. I didn't just see him as my stepson anymore. I saw him as the man who had brought me back to life. And what happened that night changed everything. My world would never be the same. Thank you for joining me today on Seductive Chronicles. If you've ever felt overwhelmed by loss or loneliness, remember you are not alone. Reach out. Let someone in. Sometimes, healing begins with the simplest act of accepting help.